Alright, Schlockmeister fans, we're visiting an old classic for me anyway. It's called The Hand with Michael Caine, one of his paycheck movies. Let's check it out. Meet Jonathan Lansdale, played by Michael Caine. He does a comic strip named Mandro. He and his wife might move to New York City.
She says that it's a steal.
She wants to go, he doesn't.
She's not going to be there Monday.
You really want this place, don't you?
They live in Vermont currently.
There's so many other things I want to do.
They argue about it.
I assumed you meant that.
You meant that's what you wanted. You don't want me to go to New York with you, do you?
That's not true. That's not true at all.
What is that?
Then a car accident where he loses his hand. It's a bloody mess. They search for the hand, they can never find it, so he is now handless. That's his comic hand, too. He's having a hard time.
It's so ugly.
There's his hand rotting away. Strange that no one could find it. Jonathan goes looking for it himself. He can't find it either. But is it possible that maybe the hand will find him? Well, now we're getting crazy. The hand is walking by itself.
You know, you could have been a little nicer to Bill.
Oh, is he just dreaming all this hand shit?
Able to pick up surprisingly small objects.
He eventually gets a prosthetic hand.
Button your shirt.
Looks like Luke Skywalker there.
Catching flies.
They've hired a new artist to take over for a while.
Do you have any idea how many copies of a book like Watson's Supernature is sold?
Charles Fleischer.
That's what Norman Kaufman thinks too, John. He likes David's approach to the strip. He thinks...
Well, he didn't like what they did to his comic strip, but he insists that he didn't do that. Could something else have scribbled all over them?
Let's go.
The director, Oliver Stone, plays a bum in the street and becomes a victim of the hand. Meanwhile, Jonathan's wife seems to be getting a little close to her yoga instructor. He then picks up a teaching job.
What's your name?
Billy. Jenkins?
Right now, do you like comic strips, Billy?
Yeah.
Annie McEnroe plays Stella, one of his students. Comes to visit. I wonder what's on her mind.
Did you just do these?
In class, you've seen them all before. Ashley. I'd like to make it in bed, okay?
Michael Caine's gonna get laid.
Okay. I found this drawing. I don't remember doing it.
Michael Caine's been having blackouts.
Was it obscene? Yeah.
That's Bruce McGill, by the way.
Maybe retired and some automatic pilot took over. No, I could never do work like that with my left hand. This was like the work I used to do with my right hand. You never know what you can do, the unconscious. You think rape's bad, man, you could kill somebody. Shit, man, you could do anything you've ever dreamed of and never had the guts to do. It's all up there.
Later on, he tells him about a girl he's been screwing, and guess who it is?
In the night. Oh, you know her. The stuck-up bitch who works at the supermarket? Stella Roach? Taking her.
That's his student he's been screwing.
John?
Speaking of Stella, she's come over. And she's getting attacked by the hand. That's the last we see of Stella.
Wait a moment. Got a little surprise.
So he's going into the cabin where he's been staying with Stella periodically, but now his wife and daughter are back. There's a mess there where Stella was, but no Stella. They're still not getting along.
Look, John, I came here to tell you something.
You never intended staying here, did you? You never even unpacked your other suitcase. You sent the rest of your stuff to San Francisco, and that's where you're going to join him, isn't it?
Who?
Rickman. All right, then. I'll ask it in another tone. Has he been fucking you?
I don't think that's any of your business. Hey, John.
Anyway, she's
I'm not
leaving,
trying to take Lizzie away from you. I just don't think that the two of us
and he
can
notices in the
raise her
back
together.
seat the hand.
Not now. And she honestly likes.
And then his buddy Bruce McGill, who plays Brian, by the way. This is the end of Brian. In spite of the hand we saw in the back seat of his wife's car, she has to come back. It didn't choke her, but now it's choking her in the cabin. Or was Michael Caine choking her?
No, I'm not hurting her. I'm helping her. I heard her scream. I came into the room. He was in here.
Now it's attacking himself. And now he's gonna bite the hand. Daughter Lizzie called the cops, who have now shown up. They make him open up the trunk of his car, and inside we find Stella and Brian.
Jesus. Oh, dear.
Which immediately puts him in a mental hospital where the doctor tells him it wasn't the hand, it was you.
Some primitive god-like power. Love.
What does the hand want? It wants to kill you.
And this is how our movie ends. All right, let's talk about The Hand. Now, this is a movie that is actually one of the first horror movies I ever saw. It was one of the first ones that I saw when I got cable, which was in March of 1982. In fact, this was a movie that was on that month, like on HBO, Showtime Movie Channel, one of the two or three, or all, who knows. And it was also the first movie where I saw a severed limb and like blood squirting out of it, like presumably would in real life. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was unaware of something like that, but there you go. It stars Michael Caine. He is a comic book artist, and he draws a comic strip called Landro, or is it Mandro? Can't remember now. Shit. Anyway, he is living in Vermont with his wife and his young daughter. His wife and he and his wife aren't getting along all that well. She wants to move to New York City to start some things that she wants to do. He's not really keen on that idea, but he's not exactly opposed to it either. They get into an argument while they're driving down the road, and he puts his hand out the window. Get back, you cow! And an accident occurs, and a truck ends up swiping his hand off, his right hand off. It's also the hand that he uses to draw. It flies into a field, presumably, and it's lost. He's bleeding all over the road. They never find the severed hand, and he ends up, without a hand. And he has some problems adjusting to that. For one thing, he can't draw. He's going to try to draw with his left hand. He's got to turn over his comic strip to his agent and a new artist, played by Charles Fleischer, actually. And he has a hard time dealing with all of this, as naturally he would. Now, we suddenly start seeing the hand that they never found, starts basically crawling, and it starts killing people, including Oliver Stone, the director of this movie, by the way. He plays a bum in the street. It starts choking and killing people. He keeps having nightmares about this hand. Is it real? Is it really choking people? Who knows? His wife eventually moves to New York City, starts hanging out with this yoga instructor and screwing him. And then he ends up having an affair with a student. He ends up teaching for a bit. A young student comes over and they have an affair. But the bodies start piling up. Now, he keeps having nightmares and stuff. And eventually, at the end of the movie, the wife comes back and the hand chokes the hell out of her. It doesn't kill her, though. The police are called. They arrest him because they think he did this. They look in his trunk and they find some dead bodies in there, including the girl that he'd been having an affair with. Michael Caine has no knowledge of this. He thinks the hand is alive and is doing this, and that's what we're kind of led to believe also. But then we're thinking, well, maybe it's all in his head and he's killing people, because the last scenes in the movie are him in like a doctor's office or a mental ward or something like that, and the doctor's telling him, no, the hand didn't do this, you did this. And then we see some flashback scenes of him killing and choking these people. But then he's telling the doctor, well, the hand wants to kill you. And the next thing you know, the hand jumps out, kills the doctor, and then Michael Caine walks off laughing. So what was happening in this movie? Was it all in his head, or was the hand actually killing? I don't know. It's kind of an ambiguous ending. We don't know, because it did end with the doctor dying, and he was supposedly tied up and couldn't do anything to her. I don't know. I've never known, so there you go. I like to think it was an actual live crawling hand, but who the hell knows, right? So anyway, like I said, this movie was very nostalgic for me in terms of it was one of the first horror movies I ever saw. There's one brief nude scene, maybe a couple of brief nude scenes in this movie. A couple of gore scenes, nothing a lot. Oliver Stone, like I said, directed this. Michael Caine, he made 3 or 4 movies which he said were paycheck movies that he just did because he wanted the money. He says this is one of them. I don't think it's a bad film, though, to be honest with you. I just don't know what was happening, whether it was real or not. You just never know. Now, this DVD is available from Warner from this Twisted Terror collection. I have a 5-disc box set called the Twisted Terror collection, which includes this one. Now, I watched this back in 2012, and it played fine. I played it now, and it freezes at the 49-minute, 33-second mark, right when he's about to answer the door of the young student who's coming over. I looked online. Other people are having the same issue in the exact same spot. But before I knew that, though, I ordered another disc of this just to have a replacement, and it froze in the exact same spot. 49 minutes, 33 seconds. What the hell? I think this is what some people online refer to as disc rot. Clearly, something is wrong with some of these Warner Brothers discs. It seems to be Warner Brothers has had more problems than any others. I've had a couple other discs with similar issues. In fact, in the box set, there's a movie called Someone's Watching Me. John Carpenter directed it, made-for-TV movie. Same thing happens in that movie. I think it's about the 57-minute mark. The other ones seem to play fine, at least as of right now. Although if you look at the Dr. Giggles DVD, it looks shabby, even though I've actually never even played that movie. I've never seen it. So I don't know if you can get a DVD version of this that plays well, put it that way, or all the way through. If you got one, I would burn a copy of it real quick before it goes, because I don't think these are going to last. So you'll notice about halfway through this review, the clips I show, the quality suddenly got a lot worse. That's because I had to pull out my VHS tape, burn that onto a disc so I could review the rest of the movie. Anyway, what are you going to do? Not available on Blu-ray, but I wish it was, because I would get it, replace it. So anyway, I'll leave a link down below if you're looking for it. If you get one that plays, great. Send me a copy of it. I'd love to have a nice copy of this, because I have 2 of them that don't play all the way through, and that sucks. Check it out. It's The Hand. Let me know what you think about it. Leave some comments. Watch it. Bye.